Welcome.
Please welcome.
The Outdoor Project Podcast. Hear real conversations from industry leaders on the latest in the hardscape and landscape industry. Brought to you by Cincinnati's Landscape Supply. You're now streaming the Outdoor Project Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Outdoor Project Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, guy we work with a lot around here, Brandon Demott.
Rochester's finest, man.
Guy.
Yeah, right.
Demott Stoneworks.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it, man. You're doing some really nice stuff out here.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, I love working with you guys for sure. There's always, different ways to step it up, and I hope I can continue to do so.
Yeah, I think you are, man. He's putting a little stamp on a lot of his work.
Yeah, man. It was hard just getting him in here.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he's a busy guy, though.
Yeah, we found it rains every day here, but a day it's actually rained all day has been a good day. So we are able to grab him and get him in here to talk to him for a little bit.
I can hear you guys now.
Yeah,
Good.
man, we got you straight, man. It's only taking about a half hour, but Ben is on his game right now.
Ben loves it when we talk about him.
So, Brandon, last year we really started promoting contractors, going out to job sites, taking videos, taking pictures and stuff. And for some reason, man, you landed on a lot of our footage.
I mean, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to.
Wanna know what it is? It's Cincinnati and Yukon Valley. We're big natural stone guys, and you're doing a ton of the natural stone, and it looks outstanding. So you've been doing a great job with that.
Yeah, and being a small person or a small company, I should say, it's just myself, 1 to 2 employees. So I'm the marketing manager. I'm the customer relations, just everything involved. And when you guys started doing that to the point where I didn't have to hire a photographer to go out and do it, or everyone's tired of looking at my cell phone pictures that have the camera scratched all the like crazy on the back of it, and it was huge. I mean, I'm getting professional shots by you guys, and I hope it benefits you, and because it sure benefits me.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's nice that there was 2 aspects to doing that. Was to help you guys out as contractors, and if you're doing good work,
yeah,
and for us too, because we need marketing pieces for for all of our stuff that Ben puts out there too for social media and stuff.
Our products.
Yeah, you actually make us look very good. You take a very raw product, which is Yukon Valley natural stone, and you're an artist with it. You make your own little designs. You do all your own, just inlays and put a stamp on it. Demotte Stoneworks.
Exactly, and that's. I just hope to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Stay small, keep with that mentality. I've always, tried to align myself around the way of getting better, not bigger.
Yeah.
And, I've listened to a couple of the podcasts you guys have had in here, and, some are, scale. Others are, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm going to stay. And I'm just going to keep on keeping on.
That's all you can do, right? How many years have you been in business now?
We've been in business for 2 years. I've been in the industry for probably going on 12, 13 years, somewhere in that realm. We got started with a bigger local company and had great relationship, had a great time there. I've loved it, and at some point in time, we're doing a ton of side work and that sort of thing. It was time to branch off from that and kind of do my own thing.
It's a pretty common thing. I mean, you go to work every day knowing that, man, I got the skill set to go and do this on my own, and I'm making a weekly paycheck that maybe isn't fulfilling what I really want. Why the heck not go on my own? Is that kind of what happened with you?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, there was pressure at home because I was working 40 plus hours for a company, and then working for myself another 30 to 40 hours throughout the week. And I had a young family, and, at some point, it's easy to say that, all right, let's go just do it on my own. Everyone's
Right.
making money, because it's not the case. And I've, made so many mistakes that it wasn't the case at all. But, kind of going from that, it's easy to say, it's way harder to do.
Right.
My biggest fear and my biggest, problem with making that transition was myself. I was scared to death.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's nice when it's, second easy money, second money.
You're getting that steady paycheck now. You got to go fight and earn that every week. God forbid, I'm sure you have that fear in the back of your head. What if I don't get any jobs all of a sudden? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed my family? I mean, that's got to be something you're scared of, right?
That's 100% it. It's so easy when you're just by yourself. You're 18 years old. You've got a care in the world. It's fine. But when you're, you got two little ones at home, and my wife, she works. But yeah, that's the scariest portion of it all.
And I know it's even more scary because I was kind of in a similar scenario as that, but upstate New York, you only have 6 months out of the year to be landscaping. So in your mind, were you concerned about the winter months, paying your bills in the winter months, or did plowing kind of not make you as nervous?
So, kind of touching on that is I actually plowed I was always into snow and snow plowing, snowmobiling as a young kid. And I bought a plow truck when I was 20 years old, and I'm set out. I want to plow driveways. I want to do this. This is the funnest thing ever.
You're the only one that said that.
Yeah, trust me. That is not the same scenario today. But at the time, there was nothing cooler than that. Looking back, that was probably like the funnest times ever. Just being up in the middle of the night by yourself. I didn't have huge clients, so it was there wasn't any stress that was brought on me all night long. But kind of going forward, I always had that. It grew, and that that's going back 12, 13 years ago, and it grew, over that course. Utilizing, I was working for a lot for as a subcontractor to other companies, and I steadily grew. I wasn't looking for huge, just huge growth, but I employ more people in the winter than I do in the summer, and so when it came time to make that transition from working for a larger company and working for myself, I didn't have to worry about that.
That was your backbone.
That downtime, because I never worked for them in the winter.
During the winter.
So you already knew what you had for the winter months. The concern was summer months for you, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And, right out the gate, I knew I had to do it right. There was no, I wasn't going to be Johnny one truck in a sense that I wasn't going to do it all. I wasn't going to, show up to the job site with my pickup truck, pull my shovel and wheelbarrow out of the back and go to town. It wasn't feasible. So I knew I had to, before I even had the first shovel in the ground as Demott Stoneworks, I knew I had to hire someone.
Yeah.
And, thankfully I made great connections along the way, and I had a guy that I needed to hire, and, he wasn't going to come cheap.
Yeah.
And I made that commitment, and that was the scariest part is, I've saved money and, what have you. My family will be okay. Worst comes to worst. But now I have someone else's family to worry about.
Line,
and
basically.
that's such a new thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the winter, you were debating on if you should stay or go. We had a huge conversation. And I think a lot of what we talked about was if you're going to make that jump, you're going to have to go 110%. Yeah. Even with that fear, you know what I mean? And you came to me and you said, what's your opinion on it? And I already knew you did plowing, but going in the summer, we also knew you had some connections to get you going in the landscape division too. So you weren't going just empty, you know what I mean? But there was some investments that you had to make. And I think the biggest investment that you made was making sure, first of all, you had a proper guy that you hired. And then we talked about this with Pave Tool, and the owner of Pave Tool was you invested in tools. You know what I mean? So you had a crew, a very slim crew, but here comes Demott Stoneworks out with suction material. I mean, you just went
lifters.
Everything that you needed, you invested in. Your trucks, your trailers, everything. And when we said if you're going to go in for it, you better go 110%, you did.
Yeah, I went crazy. I found a dump truck in California. I had that shipped to Rochester. And we utilize social media so much, and I was plain old tired of doing it the old way. I have wheeled so many wheelbarrows full of, stone to so many great distances, and, picked up the craziest, heaviest pavers out there. And it's just like, why? Like, we can't, like, there's no way you can sustain this forever.
Right.
No.
I don't want to be crippled by the time I'm 50 years old. And so I set out knowing that I wanted to be, lean and mean, and that requires a whole lot of innovation. It requires a whole lot of equipment to make not only like your physical health good, but the production standpoint. I feel like with the equipment I've purchased, I have probably 4 people that I'm not hiring.
Right.
Without a doubt. I mean, the work we can flow through and be steady from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. is all about the equipment.
Yeah, and think of that other aspect of it. We sat down with Mass Hardscapes out of Massachusetts too. Just the tools alone, you're investing in the tools. Not only are you making the jobs easier, but you're making your workers a lot more happy, where you got 8 to 10 hour day. They're not tired by lunchtime from lifting up those 85-pound block all day.
That productivity.
The productivity is
Exactly.
consistent.
Yeah, and that's, people are always, the suction thing is real cool, but I know I could lay it faster. I'm like, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
You'll lay it faster from about 7 in the morning to about 9:30 in the morning. And then I'm just, the classic case of tortoise in the hair. I'm just going to keep going.
That consistency.
or till after lunch, after you just ate 2 pepperoni slices, you're a complete waste.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. And there was an operator at the last company I worked for, and he always said, slow down to go fast, and he was almost operated in a slow manner, but his production was so much faster than anybody else's.
Yeah.
And the quality was always there. So there's you touched on me talking to you in the wintertime that year, to get my the ball rolling to open up Demotte Stoneworks. And I've had I've worked hard with side jobs and put a little clientele together, but my network that I've reached out to over the last 10 years is the reason I did okay, and I was able to pay my bills and have been able to land decent sized jobs where I can really show off my work.
Yeah. And I think showing off your work is key, because not only, you had a clientele, you invested 110%, and now you had your plowing business, but now here's your work. Your work speaks for itself. And I look at your Instagram and what you do, and we talk once in a while, and you're like, dude, go check this guy out. Or I'll send you an inlay and be like, dude, check this inlay. You're like, that's going to be on my next, So we're always working together. And not only did you go 110%, but your work is 110%. And I know you use a lot of natural stone, so that comes in with the tools. You could have stayed with concrete, and you still do concrete, don't get me wrong, but you went natural stone, which separates you from a lot of the other guys. But everything's heavy. Your 8-foot by 24-inch treads you're putting on a pool coping, or that 8-foot or 6-foot steps that you're building up to a 10-foot transition. That all takes tools. But again, those type of products really make your projects.
And yeah, I mean, I've had a passion for the industry, for a long time. I love every aspect. I love the concrete pavers. I love every aspect of it. But challenging myself was always in the realm of natural stone. A dry stacked wall. It's just, to me, looking at that is just incredible. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it. Staring, 20 years old, staring at some guy that's chipping away, going to town and putting this whole dry stacked wall together. And I'm like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be challenged. I want to do it. First one I did took forever, absolutely forever. It was actually at my house, and my wife's peeking out, and is it really going to take this long? Like, are we going to be doing this all summer?
It takes a certain person to be able to sit and do natural stone. I remember I used to do it, and I'd have to get up like every 15 minutes and walk away for 15 minutes because it would just drive me nuts seeing the way you do it and you just put your mind to it and you get it done, man, you do some. I watched you at that one job out in Leroy, Bubble Landscaping. Hopefully they don't hear this, but stepping on their area. But yeah, you did the fire pit. You did all the dry stack wall with the coping on the top. I mean, there's not too many guys that are doing dry stack walls like that are actually lasting a while and look as level as what you had there.
Yeah, I mean, you might have saw me at my best when I was kind of in there in the groove, and that's what it's kind of gotten to. But there was a time where honestly 1 o'clock would come around from doing that, and I was done. I was toast.
You're mentally tired.
You're totally done.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten to the point where, I know what the next rock I'm looking at. I know what I'm looking for. And truthfully, you can grab any one of them and make them fit in, what you're doing. But it's kind of going that mentality to just slow down to speed up. And it's really, just don't get yourself overwhelmed, because the end product is going to make, it's extremely gratifying, the end product.
Yeah.
Takes a while to get there, though.
Yeah, that Leroy job was amazing. The brown stone with the blue
we got to
stone.
shoot that one.
Oh, yeah, we do. I know. Especially at the night with all the lights on it.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Another job that really, this is when you first started, off of Highland Ave. I think it was off of Highland Ave. You did the kitchen in the back, all dry stack. It was a very small space.
Was that the one with the pool?
No, there was no pool. It was just a
bocce court.
Yeah, it was so amazing. All the tight stack colonial. I think it was all the colonial dry stack and stuff. That was, and for me too. You just starting, and us being in the natural stone, and me not seeing much of it, to be honest with you. Just getting out was like, I was like, Demotte's gonna make it, man. He's doing stuff that a lot of guys aren't doing. You know what I mean? And all of that stuff was tight. The radiuses you had on the sitting walls and stuff like that. I think you were working with J.R. McCarthy on that job.
Yeah, J.R. is an excellent designer. And, we've had a past of working together, and we click well. And, he's going to challenge me, up and down. And that job, it put me on the map. At the end of the day, I had to get it done.
You did.
And, that meant, doing everything I had done. And it really put me on the map. It was...
Dude, that Fitzgerald job. I mean, everything now. You can keep going down the line right now.
This guy can
with all
build
these
golf
jobs.
Courses if he needs to, too. Talk about that big golfing green you did.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, we did I think it was a 3,000 square foot putting green. You can see it on the Instagram page. But putting greens basically go down the same as paver. So you're just rolling out carpet at the end instead of laying down your pavers.
Were you using like a coarse sand or leveling sand underneath that? Did you have to do like a whole stone base for that?
Yeah, a whole stone base. Now, before you freak out, there's stone dust right underneath, because that's the process.
Was that ICPI certified, golfing green, or what?
I don't think so. But no, this stone dust compacts real well, and it's like the perfect scenario to put the putting green
Now,
material
what did you
down.
use? Did you use like pipes to level everything and kind of create like different elevations, or
so
did you just rake it out?
We obviously had someone that knew what they were talking about as far as how the pitches go and what have you. And there's never, they wanted to avoid anything over a 1% slope. So it was a lot of, kind of eyeballing to an extent. So no screed rod went down or anything like that. It was just more or less using, 8-foot boards to really fine tune and get the pitch where you need it to go.
And not only that, but that was a very high-profile job. I mean, you're on Canandaigua and on the lake. The owners of the house are, they're million.
I got a lot.
And I don't even know if I can say that, but they own Wegmans, right?
Yeah.
And dude, you stepped up the Belgian block all the way around it, the slope that came down, how large that project was. I love looking at that Instagram. I had the what's the word I'm looking for? But I was there when you were building it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so being able to watch that whole process was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. And some of the best shots, it's easy to get good shots of stuff down there is because it's so hilly. I'm up on top of 7 hills and what have you. I really got to get a drone. Like this is.
You got Cincinnati for that, man.
I want to play on my own with it.
Yeah.
They're cool. It's good for your own marketing and advertising. You do a good job with that. Let's take a step back. So we got into talking about you leaving a bigger company, going on your own, because you were putting in so many hours. You were putting 40 hours in with the company and then going and doing your own side gig. So right now you're working on your own. Obviously, you got your crew. Are you able to cut it off at a certain time, or are you still going all night? You working all day, doing appointments, doing
Sundays.
designs. Yeah, Sundays. I mean, how's that working out for you now?
So that's probably my biggest struggle right now. At first it was like, all right, we have to go gung ho. I got to get my name out there. I just work all day, all night, and I'm not talking like we're out on the job site all night. My guys still leave at 4 or 5 o'clock. Nothing crazy, but it's after work that hang out with the kids, and then you're doing book work or design work till midnight and waking. It's a constant.
It's a grind.
It's a constant grind, and right now is my focus on that grind is to try and figure out how to
Put it all together, really.
put it all together, give myself a little more time with my family. In a sense, I love my kids, love my wife. It has been that work-life balance has been a struggle. And, I think everybody that's passionate about what they do has that struggle. And it's just trying to find my, best spot for it. Because yes, it's Saturdays and Sundays are estimating, and then, design work in the evenings.
And come Monday, you're back at it. The grind never ends, really, when you're on your own.
Exactly. And I got to figure out what portion of my business am I okay allocating off. Because, we spoke earlier, I want to stay small. So I have a hard time from a creativity standpoint outsourcing design work, because that's my biggest passion is the design portion, the little details,
The real intricate stuff.
Yes.
That really, I mean, we always talk about being artistic. I mean, you have that artistic mentality when it comes to stonework, and it's hard maybe finding someone that has that same mentality as you, wouldn't you say?
Exactly. And I've tried to outsource my design work, and there's such a disconnect between you, the client, the designer, and what I'm passionate about and what they're passionate about. It's not easy. And so that portion I'm going to continue to keep in house with myself, and just kind of focus on taking the time to do the larger design jobs. And it's going to be spread out a little bit. The larger design jobs get done during the winter time, and we crank them out during the summer, and sometimes people have to wait a little bit longer, and they've been okay with that.
Yeah, I think we talked to Jared at Paradise in Florida. He said the same thing. I work at my own pace, and he's built a brand where people will wait. You know what I mean? If you have a good brand, you do quality work, and you're working at your pace. The only problem with it, he's in Florida, so the weather's a little bit better all year long. We don't have much time. But do you think your go-to is like maybe getting sub work from a designer like J.R. McCarthy? Does that make your life a lot easier?
It 100% does. It's, it's easy in a sense. And me and JR we like the same things. I'll send him some random pictures. Me and you screw around on Instagram. I don't think he's up to Instagram level. But,
There's a lot of guys that aren't. No.
But I'll send him pictures and I'll be like, sell this to someone.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do it.
Yeah.
And, we'll kid around. And, so he's almost enlightened sometimes at how much more I want to take on as far as, the crazy, intricate stuff. And at the same time, we connect well, and that is the easier scenario. And I think it's a good mix from what I do with, subcontracting versus, my own work, if you'll say that.
Yeah.
Is that I get to enjoy, seeing my design and my process go together. And at the same time as, I can continue working with JR.
Yeah, because I think you take, he's a great designer. and then you put your personal touches to it, and he allows you to do that. You know what I mean? I know when we were kind of pricing out a job lately too, is you do take on a little bit more. You know what I mean? I quoted a few things for him and stuff, and you were like, let me do that. Let me build it. You know what I mean? Let me, you're always willing to take on that little extra. And I think that's really what's going to lead to your success and more success, because your willingness to take on more.
Well, that's nice too. I mean, it's almost like he's given him not free range, but he's not micromanaging you while you're at that job.
Because he trusts them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, there's nothing. There's no micromanage. There's no anything like that. And it's, touching base on like, me wanting to do it. And so, there's some companies out there that work as subcontractors, but they don't have the equipment to say, do the excavation and the base install. And I can't stand it. I don't want anybody messing with my project from start to finish. So if there's some times where, we get in a situation where, there's a mason on site that needs to do something, I'd rather do it myself, because I want to make sure it's perfectly square to this and perfectly square to that, and the elevations all line up at the end, just because I want complete control over it. Because, it's not even about my names on it or anything like that. It's just my, craziness to have a product that's, excellent at the end of the day.
Man, that Country Club Lane drive, that job on Country Club Lane up by Oak Hill. I just keep on thinking about, we just did a podcast with California Studios too in California, and everything he did was beautiful. And every job I think you're talking here, and I'm thinking about like all these jobs you've done, that Country Club Lane over by Oak Hill, all the natural stone stack. Everything about that job is just incredible. You know what I mean? And just to take on that much that nobody else really is doing in Rochester.
Were you doing like natural stone work like this when you worked for that other company for all those years? Or is this kind of like a new territory for you?
Yes and no. Like they would come in here, there, nothing crazy. And, it was always, they could see the excitement in my eyes, but it wasn't always something that came in. And, I don't even know how, I was passionate about it, but when I started Demotte Stoneworks, it wasn't like, all right, I'm going to set out to be the most badass, natural stone guy out there. And that wasn't it, but that's what I like. That's what I designed into. I love, concrete pavers are great and they've come a long way, but at the end of the day, I hate rolling up to like a patio that it was installed, even some of them, 6-8 years ago, and you can see some aggregates and in the top layer, and I try and push towards the natural stone, because it's a product that the color's been in for a million years.
And I think again, you talk, you're starting out with J.R. McCarthy, you had no choice but to do natural stone, because that's all he really designed. So really, he kind of pushed you in that direction and you ran with it. Yeah.
And I couldn't be happier with that. There's nothing, and the funniest thing is, I'll pull some moves with, him, or even with clients that, the general patio and everything is on a design, but I put in like a stacked stone inside the broken flagstone patio.
Love it.
Just silly stuff like that. That just keeps, and don't tell anyone. And then
it's just a surprise.
You just keep your mouth shut and wait for someone to show up, and then they're looking at it.
Has it ever backfired on you?
Yeah, it has.
Another thing too is he put, again, you're talking about Demott Stoneworks working with McCarthy. He put you in a clientele that is big money.
Yeah, and his clientele is his clientele, and that's, but I think the work we've done with natural stone and the size and basically the pictures that you guys have taken, and using that with a little bit of marketing and my network, it has landed me a ton of work outside of that subcontractor world, because I'd say I'm about 20% utilized as a subcontractor, and 80% is Demott Stoneworks sold from start to finish.
That's great.
And you're pretty booked up. Being in your second year, you're booked up probably through the whole season at this point, right?
Yeah, we're pretty, we're booked up, I would say, with with large jobs, and there's like on the fillers that I always jam in every which way. People will call me all the time. I gotta get this done, in like 2 weeks. Can you help me out? And that's one of my other problems, and I can't say no. And that, that's been an issue ongoing.
It seems like a common occurrence with most people.
What do you like? Do you like doing the smaller jobs, the bigger jobs? And I see a lot of the smaller walkways you do, but even when you do smaller walkways, you put your stamp on it. You do something special, even just with a small walkway. But, business sense and how it relates to your business, what do you like better?
So from business sense, and if I'm going to be responsible, if I could do a sidewalk every day, that's
in and out,
get in and out, pay.
Collect a check.
Yep, I said 120 square foot sidewalk, one a day for the next, all summer long.
Yeah.
That's,
you take it in a heartbeat, huh?
That business side, that's it. But I do like large jobs. I like the not have to hustle equipment here, there, everywhere. And I like how, intricate I can be on a larger job. And, going back to, profits and being a business person, and, that's super important. But it's, at the end of the day, I got to like what I do. And that I do like the larger work. I like staying there for a few weeks or a month or two or, any time in between.
The job you did off of Monroe Avenue, it was a small walkway. You decided to use the 4x8 tumbles as an edger. Brownstone. You did the overlay on the porch.
Oh yeah, that brownstone is.
Dude, that job.
So
and again,
much.
you take a small job. I mean, I don't know all the details you had in that job. I think they had some turf in the back or something like that. But you take that small job, and I got it on my Instagram, and the creativity just in a small job was amazing. Again, I can't stop thinking about all these jobs he does, because you could take just a small job like that and how creative you get with a paver as an edging or what have you. You know what I mean? It was just, it's just amazing to go to your jobs.
We were laughing before we actually came in here. I don't know if it's very funny, but the job you're actually on right now, tell us a little bit what's going on with that one.
So this is honestly probably this is the most excitement I've had out of any job. And this client gave me free realm to do, whatever I wanted, and that, operating within their budget. And that, touching base a little bit on budgets, when I try and sell stuff, I show up to someone's house and they tell me they want a new sidewalk, and I always ask what their budget is, and they kind of look at me funny, and they're, kind of nervous, like, well, your budget number is going to magically be, your estimate number. Well, at first, we have to trust each other, or this is never going to work. And so once given a budget, I can be as creative as possible within that budget. And as long as we, are at a level of trust, that, that's how I like to operate. So fast forward to this job, that's basically what went on. And we have, natural stone steps, and I'm splitting natural stone steps. They're
playing a piano.
Yes. And what we're going to be doing is we're basically splitting them into like 50 inches tall, 12 inches wide, they're 6 inches thick. And we're going to be standing them up along a natural stone set of stairs that goes down a hill. And we're going to be boring holes, and we're going to be using this as a railing system.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I've never done this before. I won't I'm kind of nervous about it, but everything's moving forward.
It's one for the ages, huh?
It's exactly what it is. I just want to keep challenging myself, and there's going to be a point where something's not going to work, and it hasn't. And I've had to go to clients, and this one just wasn't going to work.
Yeah, I know we ran into that situation with the black polished. You did it into the walkway. It was such a great idea.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was very unique, but just didn't work out. But you re-engineered it and made it work. But it was just such, being creative sometimes isn't, is an engineered nightmare sometimes.
For sure. And that's what it comes down to. You try to use your best practices of what you learned and how you install, and, you kind of go, in a crazy direction, and you just kind of almost have to, I don't want to say wing it, but you have to trust that it's going to work out. And sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
But there's nothing that I value more than my customers.
Yeah.
And I make it right no matter what. Period.
So we get back to budget again, and I know we filmed a lot of your jobs last year, but another one, the town of Pittsford, almost right downtown Pittsford, that real small backyard with the little with the spa pool.
It was small. That's a small yard. That had to be tough.
Dude, you talk about budgets.
Yeah.
All the Mexican beach pebbles you use for all the.
There wasn't one on that. There
definitely wasn't a budget on there.
This is what if there was,
you wouldn't have been using Mexican beach pebbles if there's a budget.
7 ton of Mexican beach pebbles.
They ain't cheap.
No, not at all. And that was a cool project.
Yeah, and again, taking such a small space, and we talked about that with Justin Fox again with Kelly. Taking such a small space, your vision, and just making it so clean, so nice. I mean, just crispy. Walking in that backyard and be like, dude, how did he create such a small space? But coming out of your back door every day, I would love to live there.
And it's natural stone.
All natural stone.
Such a small area with all natural stone. You don't really see that too much nowadays.
And we talk about the architecture of the house. I mean, the town is an old town, very rustic. You know how it goes. Yeah. You know what I mean? It just fit perfect.
Oh, yeah. And, you can't go, your nice Victorian village home and you're putting a 7x14 swim spot in the backyard. It's with some nice, sleek, modern lines, and you kind of got to marry the two. Yeah, and that's what we did. We utilized
matching with the architecture of the house, basically.
Yeah, and not only that, but the time period.
Yeah,
they're not. It was all back then. It was clay pavers and natural stone.
Yep.
Blue stone, probably old natural cleft.
The
regular thickness blue stone,
4.5 inches thick,
and not only that,
4.5 to 1.5 inch thick. Yeah. Oh my God, what a nightmare!
Yeah, the sidewalk going up to the front steps. I mean, we talked about the backyard, but the front was beautiful too.
Yeah, and it was a total redo, and there was a lot of constraints with that pool. They had a cobblestone basement, so the piping for the spa had to come up out of the ground and through an existing window. So that, if you check out the pictures, that's why there's a raised portion in the whole process. And it adds an incredible level of, wow factor to the project. Yeah. But it was more of a function than a form on that.
Yeah, because you had, such a small space, but you had elevation, which was nice too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we keep talking about all these jobs. Brandon, where can people see all these pictures? Where can they find you on social media, your website? What do you got?
So we can check us out at DemotteStoneworks.com. Most of my up-to-date, I try my best on social media, and, the most up-to-date is on our Instagram page. And, search Demotte Stoneworks. That's going to be the most up-to-date. We're on Facebook a little bit here and there. But that I love Instagram. I love checking everybody else's
Everyone
work
can
out.
see everyone can see the truck you got from Kelly too. You just did a paint job over the winter on that too. That looks killer.
Yeah, that's my baby. So I can't go out and buy some fancy car and fix it all up. So I figured might as well fix up the dump truck.
What year was that?
It's a 1990.
Wow, that came out mint too.
We won't tell anyone about that. Does it follow all the emissions, Brandon, or what?
Sure does.
Brandon, how's everything going with the cold? How's the family? How's everybody healthy?
Oh man, everyone's healthy. Everyone's gonna get through this, and we're all gonna be out on the better in the end, and who knows what kind of changes that everyone's gonna face. Yeah. But the family's great. Everyone's turned into being a school teacher. That's probably the most challenging part of everything.
Let's touch base on that a little bit. I guess there's two parts. Has it affected your business, and do you think with what's going on is going to affect your business in the future at all?
So yeah, I mean, right when this all comes down, first you worry. My wife's in healthcare, so I'm not as worried about the physical effects of what's going on with COVID-19, but you go straight to the financial, and I had a pretty booked up year, and I touched base with a couple clients just to make sure just how are you doing, do you still want us at your place, that sort of thing, and they're like, yeah, we're great. I haven't had any cancellations.
Great. And
in the midst of this, I don't know if people are just staring at their backyards, but I've gone on so many estimates, and landed a bunch of, decent jobs during the whole, the pandemic. And, I don't know if I equate that to people just hanging outside, staring at what's going on outside, or, what have
You just have a good clientele, I think.
It does, but we talked about that a little bit. People are staying home. Maybe they had some money that they were going to go on vacation with. You know what I mean? If they got 3 or 4 kids, man, go to Disney's going to cost you about $7,000, I think.
Yeah,
Instead of doing that, man, they're going to put a patio or something, walkway.
$7,000 for a staycation. You have it right in your backyard.
Exactly. That's that's all I can hope for. But there's always that. I'm not a big business type of guy. I enjoy what I do. I know my numbers enough to know where I need to be. I know where I can charge, based on, the area that I'm in and, the other work that's being done. But at the end of the day, you get nervous, but at the same time, I'm small. Mm-hmm. It's just me, a couple other guys.
It's manageable.
Exactly. It's very manageable. If we're, upside down out of work and what have you, I'm going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Because first, I take care of my employees. I pay them guys, all through all this, even if there's, slow weeks or ups, downs, and anything in between.
That's huge. You see, it's an oncurring thing with guys that we've talked to that are small like you. They're doing very well with their work. The biggest thing is taking care of your employees, and I think it's good for you to be doing that because at the end of the day, you rely on them. You probably wouldn't be where you are too without their help.
100%. You are only as good as your help, and if you don't even have help, that you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest problem with employees in this industry in this area is that they work 8 months a year and then they're laid up and they snow plow here, there, or what have you, but they're on unemployment, and you cannot function that way. You can't live. You can't, enjoy anything for that matter.
Yeah.
And I set out doing this. I knew that I needed whoever I hired, I'm going to pay right through the winter.
Yeah.
And I did that, and it's a whole lot. It was a whole lot easier than I thought it was. I guess you can say, but that was a level of commitment I made to my guys. And I don't care if we worked 2 hours or 40 hours of actual working during a week in the winter, they got paid a salary.
Yeah, it's amazing because I love the success story. You know what I mean? And I would hate to say we're doing this podcast to educate a lot of people. You know what I mean? Especially the guys in Rochester who aren't on social media that might be watching this. We're doing other podcasts with other guys around the country just to show what other guys are doing. You know what I mean? Just kind of open up everybody's eyes to be as creative as Demotte Stoneworks, because I think you're going to be a mentor or an influence to a lot of guys when they look at your page. You know what I mean? And with all this stuff going on, and I don't think we've interviewed anybody that's really been affected by the COVID-19. No. And it's nice to hear, you know what I mean? Because we really don't want anybody to be hurt by this. And we all want Demotte Stoneworks to keep going.
That's it, man. I love this podcast because, everyone thinks landscapers, hardscapers, it's a competition. I think at the end of the day, there's enough work to go around. I want it to be more like a community and everyone to be able to take from each other instead of being competitive and fighting and thinking, oh man, this guy's doing it wrong. Why doesn't everyone just work together, take the positives from everyone and work together? And I think that's what maybe this podcast can bring to people.
Yeah, I don't know about that. No. I think competition's great.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys even just local that are in the similar boat as me, or even guys that work for larger companies that every time we do something cool, we'll snap a picture of it and send it like, yeah, step your game up, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a constant. I love it.
Yeah, there's a competition, but at the end of the day, there's still enough work for everyone. I mean, you don't have to be bashing people. Oh, this guy took my job. You know what I mean? I think there should be enough work to go around.
Right. The quality companies around here are all doing very great work, and I love showing up to job sites and knowing that someone else is estimating that I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and we just we break each other's balls and kind of just keep raising the bar, and I love it. I love every portion of it.
And not only that, we look at it as education too, because the more you communicate with your competitors, or, you know, I like to say it because we kind of all are friends, realistically, and we promote that. But you guys can also talk. Listen, I'm at $22 a square foot. You know what I mean? Getting jobs all day.
Oh, yeah.
If you're at 16, dude, you're leaving $6 on the table. You know what I mean? Let's just say that as a scenario.
I'm not very good at math, but where did the
22 and 16?
Oh, you said 20 and 16. All right, whatever.
60, yeah. You weren't good at English either. No. You know what I'm talking about, though. What we love that friendly competition.
Yeah, and I'll get text messages or Facebook messages from local guys that, you know, they're estimating a broken flagstone patio, and they're like, you know, I hate to do this, but this is where my number is going to be. What do you think? You know, and I love it, and I'll do the same to them, and it's, you know, it's extremely helpful. I'm extremely transparent.
Yeah.
Like you can ask me any question and I'll tell you. It doesn't bother me because it's who I am. You know, I love helping people out, and that's, you know, it's fun. Like, it's fun.
I think we talked about that. You know, when you go into an estimate and you're up against these guys, you're going to be competitive. We talk about it all the time. You guys might be the same price or just even the same quality of work. They might pick somebody with that they jive with a little bit, maybe a personality wise or something like that. But on an even playing field, the work's the same, the prices are the same, and you're confident going into these jobs that pretty much I feel comfortable I can land these.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's, you can't look back. Don't look back. Don't, you know, you have to know your numbers, and those are your numbers. And, you know, a lot of times you have to also know your market's numbers and the quality of work you're doing. And, you know, yes, I'm going, you know, doing estimates with some people, you know, I do like, some people I don't like, or, you know, anywhere in between. And, you know, I got to be confident. I got to do, you know, my biggest thing is that, you know, we design just about every project. You know, I'm not the spray paint guy. I won't go out there and start spray painting and say, you know, this is.
What about the hose trick? Do you usually take their hose and start laying it out?
Yeah, push my heel in the ground, and this is gonna be the
drag your heel around.
Yeah.
I think those are the $13 a square foot guys. No, but there is those guys out there. We talked a little bit about, you know, the guy that you did want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The one with the Honda Accord with the pickup with the
the
wheelbarrow in the back.
The best is when you pull up to the house to start the project on the first day, and the homeowner has the hose laid out how he wants it laid out.
That's
unbelievable.
And you know, and I feel like the people that get excited about, you know, the details that I discuss with them, and, you know, and still staying within their budget, and they're kind of like, wow, I can get all of that. And, you know, that's been the best selling point for me, you know, is the previous work and taking the time with each client. I will never email someone a proposal, ever. And, you know, in this pandemic's a little bit different, but I've always, you know, our process starts with, you know, the consultation to get-go. We call that the estimate. And, you know, once we go from there, we go into design, and then, you know, we put together a proposal. And I don't care if it's a 100 square foot sidewalk or, you know, a $100,000 job, I've never not delivered it in person. And that's something great. That
you don't see that too often.
That'll continue to happen. You know, I like that level of trust, you know, intimacy, if you can want to call it that. You know, I don't like when people are emailing me, you know, want to spend $30,000 and I'm going to get an email about what's going on.
Yeah, that's your signature. I mean, just like your work, you always put a signature, a stamp on your work, and that's your signature. You know, you don't email. You like to do it all in person. You know what I mean? And that's works huge. For you.
That's huge.
You know, it probably should work for everybody, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
I mean, hopefully someone can take from that too.
And
people that are doing.
Yeah, we're in a time where everything is so easy. It's easier to click it and send it than it is to, you know, jump in your vehicle, go. And there's a huge time, you know, portion to that. But I mean, there's very few jobs that I haven't sold being hand delivered to people.
Right. I mean, you might have to do it with a mask on right now, but that's okay.
Full suit.
6 feet apart outside.
Brandon, anything in 2020 going into 2021 we can look forward to with Demotte Stoneworks?
Just, yeah, I mean, there's, a few jobs that I just have raising my personal bar, to the point where, you haven't seen any pictures. And I hope someday that someone's taking pictures and, looking at that and being like, all right, I'm going to try that out.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And if I keep making people happy and I continue to stay happy with what we're doing, we're just, Demotte Stoneworks is going to carry on.
Yeah, I know we talked a little bit about it. I'm not going to let it out because I know you got a few secrets you got boiling up with some design work, man, that we talked about on Instagram a couple days ago. But I'm not going to let anybody know. I'm not even going to let Chris know.
He'll tell me later. Don't worry, I'll get it out of him.
I'm always cooking up something crazy, and that's,
Yeah.
I think this one I got to try at my own place before I can charge any money for it or try and basically give it away to someone.
Well, we can't wait, man. Ben's licking his chops to come to some of your jobs, man, to do some drone shots and some pictures. And this next job you're doing right now that you and Chris were talking about, we're looking forward to doing some footage on it.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's going to look sick. I can't wait to see it.
It is.
So, just be safe on it, man.
No, exactly. Yeah, hills, machine equipment, big rocks.
Not good.
It's not
good.
fun.
You could check. You could see. You posted some videos on your Instagram, right? Of that or no?
Just the beginning of it.
Yeah, just a little bit here and there. I'll be being more vigilant on the the Instagram portion of that job soon here. That's just keep on keeping on.
That's
Keep
it,
it on, man.
Thanks for coming in on this rainy day, man. We appreciate you sitting down with us.
It's been a lot of fun. You guys are always a trip.
Rochester's very own Demotte Stoneworks, man. We appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Round 2 coming soon.
Thanks, Brandon.